All right, so ladies and gentlemen, I am Sean Atkins, Chair of the East Point Planning and Zoning Commission. At this time, I will call our regularly scheduled July meeting to order. Staff, would you please sound roll call to establish a quorum?
Commissioner Miller.
Present.
Thank you. Commissioner McKnight.
Present.
Thank you. Commissioner Fan.
Here.
Thank you. Commissioner Bryant.
Present.
Thank you. Commissioner Lovett. Commissioner Presley. Commissioner Fields, Joseph Fields. Commissioner Mark Fields.
Present.
And Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
All right, thank you. So it looks like perhaps we did lose Commissioner Presley. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I would like to ask that we take a moment of silence, and we shall do that and then move into our agenda. All right. Commissioners, at this time, I will entertain a motion to approve our June 15, 2023 meeting minutes.
Motion to approve, sir.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been
Second.
moved by Commissioner Miller, seconded by Commissioner Bryant, that we approve our June 15, 2023 meeting minutes. All in favor, sound aye.
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 All opposed, sound nay. Hearing none, the ayes have it. Our June 15, 2023 meeting minutes are approved. Commissioners, we have our agenda presented before us. At this time, I will entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
Motion to adopt the agenda, Mr. Chair, as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Fan, seconded by Commissioner Miller, that we adopt the agenda as presented. All in favor, sound aye.
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 All opposed, sound nay. Hearing none, the ayes have it. And with that aye, I would like for the record to reflect that Commissioner Lovett has joined us. Commissioner Lovett, could you please sound present for the record?
Present.
Thank you so very much. We'll now move into old business. Our first case under old business is case number 2023, V as in Victor -001-03. The applicant is Deanna Harvison, and the location is 1600 Connolly Drive. Staff, would you please sound the caption for this agenda item?
Sure, in reference to item number 1, case number 2023 V-001-03, the applicant is Deanna Harvison. The location is 1600 Connolly Drive. The applicant is requesting a relief from section 10-7016, sign specifications to reduce the setback from 10 to 5 to build a monument sign within a 5-foot setback in the R4 zoning district. The applicant is also seeking a concurrent variance to build a monument sign of 16 feet in height. The case type is a concurrent variance.
Okay, thank you so much. This item does require a public hearing. At this time, I will read our rules for public hearings, which will apply to this case. Public hearings before the Planning and Zoning Commission shall be conducted in accordance with section 10-2219 of the East Point Zoning Code and Development Regulations as follows. Persons both favoring and opposing the proposed case will be provided an opportunity to address the commission. The applicant for the zoning case or the applicant's designated representative, if any, will be entitled to speak first, followed by other speakers in favor of the proposal for a total of 15 minutes. Those who oppose the proposed zoning case will then be permitted to speak for a total of 15 minutes. By majority vote, the commission may increase the total time of speakers, provided that each side is given the same amount of time. If there is more than one speaker for a side, the chair or the presiding officer may limit the time allotted to each individual speaker other than the zoning applicant. The zoning applicant may reserve a portion of his or her allotted time for rebuttal. Speakers must adhere to the rules of decorum. Prior to speaking, each speaker shall identify him or herself and state his or her current address. Each speaker shall speak only to the merits of the proposed zoning ordinance under consideration, shall address remarks only to the commission, and shall refrain from making personal attacks on any other speaker. The presiding officer may refuse a speaker the right to continue if after first being cautioned, the speaker continues to violate the rules of decorum. Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard our rules for public hearings. Commissioners, at this time, I will entertain a motion to open the public hearing for case number 2023 V as in Victor -001-03.
Motion to open the public hearing, Mr. Chair.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Fan, seconded by Commissioner Lovett, that we open the public hearing for case number 2023 V as in Victor -001-03. All in favor, sound aye.
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 All opposed, sound nay. Hearing none, the ayes have it. Is our applicant present this evening?
I am.
Okay, I see the hand of Mr. Vecino, is that correct?
Vecino is a company I work for, but it's Mr. McWhort. Would you like me to state my name and address?
Yes, as a part of our rules for public hearings, you will have to do that. Your name and your current address, please.
Of course. My name is Patrick McWhort, McWhirt, and my address is 1204 South Florence Avenue, Springfield, Missouri.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much. Mr. McCourt, before you start, I would like for the record to reflect that we have been joined by Commissioner Joseph Fields. Commissioner Fields, would you please unmute and state present for the record?
Present.
Please mute. Please mute. Thank you. Okay, Mr. McWhort, the floor is yours. You may present your case. And do you have any visuals for your presentation that need to be uploaded so that we may follow along with your case?
There were a couple of visuals. Taylor, did you have those? I mean, really, it's probably as simple as the one comparative PDF that we had used in the work session last week.
Well, Chair, staff does have those graphics. We'll share them here shortly.
Okay. Thank you, by the way. Essentially, this is for a monument sign for 1600 Connolly Drive. Again, I'm Patrick and I work with the Vecino Group. We discussed this very sign for a location variance on the property that's being redeveloped, and Vecino is working in partnership with the East Point Housing Authority to redevelop this into Aya Tower. And I just want to pause and say thank you once again for approving the location variance. That's been hugely helpful. And now the second half of that in concurrence is a slight sign change to the monument sign. What we had proposed was, I believe it was back in May, for the location variance, a smaller monument sign. And the feedback was that it was probably too small in ratio to the actual 9-story building that was next to. So we regrouped and took another pass at the sign, and which is what we have. Thank you very much, Taylor, on the screen here. And so it very much fits the fabric of the actual redeveloped property. It does justice to the building and the redesign and redevelopment of this East Point building, and is slightly larger, quite a bit larger actually than is allowed by the zoning ordinance. So that's where we're here to discuss hopefully getting approval to create this sign.
Thank you, Mr. McWhort. Are there any other proponents here to speak in favor of the zoning matter? Any other proponents here to speak in favor?
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner, I would like to speak in favor of this.
Okay, if you please state your first and last name and your current address, Ms. Stevens.
Yes. Deborah Stevens, 2873 Brookport Lane, Atlanta, Georgia. And I work with East Point Housing Authority in partnership with the Casino Group to redevelop the Nelms House and now the Aya Tower. I think this redesign really speaks to the building in hand. It complements the design of the building. And I am very pleased with this and glad that we had the opportunity to go back and redesign it. So we are very much in favor of this new design and ask for approval.
Thank you, Ms. Stevens.
Mhm.
Before we go on to any other speakers, either proponents or opponents, I would like for the record to reflect that we have also been rejoined by Commissioner Joseph Presley. Mr. Presley, could you please, Commissioner Presley, could you please unmute and state present for the record?
I apologize. Present.
Thank you so very much.
Atkins and.
That's fine. Thank you very much. Are there any other proponents here to speak in favor of the zoning matter? Any other proponents here to speak in favor?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
we do not have any other attendees for this meeting.
Okay, thank you. Are there any opponents here to speak against the zoning matter? Any opponents here to speak against? Hearing none and seeing none, commissioners, at this time, I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing, Mr. Chair.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Fan, second by Commissioner Miller, that we close the public hearing. Staff, would you please sound your recommendation?
Staff recommends approval of the variance request based upon the stipulations reviewed in the staff report shared with the commission this evening. And I'll be happy to answer any questions need be.
Okay, so Mr. McSwain, if you could please go through any of the report that is pertinent, because we will need to have that for the record. And so to just say that anything that has been reviewed before, this is staff's time for recommendations so that we can make sure that it is a part of the official record. Just in case there are other things that need to come up, we need to make sure that staff's reasoning and rationale for approving has been clearly stated, articulated, and all the commissioners are understanding of that.
Okay, no problem. In the review of this petition for a variance, the sign height, of course, is not permitted per the minimum requirement of 4. What the applicant is requesting, staff has reviewed over the 5 criterias of the variance request. And I will go over each criteria very briefly, if need be, to give an understanding of staff standpoint for the record. The first criteria point speaks on the reasoning for allowing a request in regards to the rights and privileges enjoyed by other property owners. This request, every adjacent property owner has the ability and the right to apply for a variance. So this request would not grant or provide an opportunity that's not allowed to any adjacent owners. Criteria number 2, does the required variance go beyond the minimum necessary to afford relief? The requested variance can afford the minimum necessary to be a 4-foot height sign, but it is staff's opinion that with the existing signage of the adjacent properties along Main Street and also on Colony Road, that this would provide some architectural variety and mixture of signage that also is appeasing to the intent of the downtown architectural overlay. So it meets the intent of that overlay and also provides good aesthetics to match the building that has been presented before this board before. Next, relief if granted would not cause substantial detriment to public good or impair the purpose and intent of this ordinance. If relief granted would not cause substantial detriment to the public good or impair the purpose and intent of the zoning ordinance. And 2 more points. Number 4, no variance shall be granted by the Planning and Zoning Commission that permits the expansion or enlargement of any non-conforming use of land and buildings in combination. This request for the height goes along new construction, so it would not impact any legal non-conforming use on the site, given that this is a redevelopment here regarding the building. This is just an accessory structure for signage. And lastly, no variance shall permit the reestablishment of any non-conforming use of land, non-conforming buildings in combination. And again, very similar to the answer and question given, this variance, if approved, would not permit the reestablishment of any non-conforming use of land. With that information stated for the record, staff's recommendation is to approve the requested variance height for the proposed signage. I'll be able to answer any questions if need be.
Thank you, Mr. McSwain. Commissioners, we've heard from the applicant and we've heard staff's recommendation. Staff's recommendation is for approval. This is a concurrent variance, which means we're not the final arbiter. So any motion that you make, please make it in the form of a recommendation. At this time, I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Lovett.
I recommend approval for the variance.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second, Chair.
It's been moved by Commissioner Lovett, seconded by Commissioner Fan, that this body recommends approval of the concurrent variance. Are there any comments, questions, or concerns? Hearing none, all in favor sound aye.
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 All opposed sound nay. Hearing none, the ayes have it. This body recommends approval of the concurrent variance for 1600 Connolly Drive. Our next agenda item would be announcements. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Staff, do you have any announcements good for the body?
The only announcement that I have is that the 2022 comp plan was approved Monday night. So, yay.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
it.
excellent. Thank you so very much. Any other announcements from staff?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, any announcements for the good of the body? Hearing none and seeing none, at this time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Lovett, second by Commissioner McKnight, that we adjourn. All in favor sound aye.
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 All
Aye.
opposed sound nay. Hearing none, the ayes have it. This meeting is now adjourned. Peace up, A-Town down. Good night, everyone.
Very good, everybody.
Thank you all.